What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to some Dungeon Defenders 2 and another Defense Spotlight. It's only a matter of time, and oh yeah, it is time to talk about them cannonballs. The cannons, just like every other defense in the game, can really be optimized and can be used in many different fashions. The first thing you need to do is decide what you want to get out of your cannonballs. Do you want to use them for just big single target damage against bosses, against lady orcs, against assassins, whatever the case, whatever you want to do with them? Do you want to use them to stun? Do you want to try to use them as a lane clear? What exactly do you want to do? Now, there are a few challenges with cannonballs. First off, let's take a look at the range. The range on my cannons is 5,700. The range actually goes up to 6,250. However, even with vicious strikes in the mix, you cannot get to 6,250. So you would have to double stack range shards. As you see, I'm using a Gilded Deadly Strikes just to get to that 5,700. So I would have to add on a ranged mod on top of this, or give up another shard slot for vicious strikes to get myself up to that range cap. Now, 5,700 is pretty darn decent range, really, when you think about it. As you see here, it reaches just about to the wall of the tavern from right here, which is pretty darn good. And I like to use my cannons for stun. Now, with that in mind, I do want a little AoE out of my cannons, and I do want to vary them per situation. So the majority of the time that I'm using cannons, I am rolling with Stunfire, Deadly Strikes, and Defense Rate. Now, if I decide I want more of a lane clear instead of worrying about the stun, then I pop out Stunfire and throw in Heavy Cannonball or Destruction, either or. Destruction, of course, would net you the most single target damage, but Heavy Cannonball would give you the opportunity to pierce those packs of mobs and get a little AoE in the mix. Now, another important thing to note is the defense rate. It does require a Gilded Deadly Strikes to get yourself to the defense rate. As you see, I do not have one in this slot, which means I had to go with a defense rate mod. It doesn't take a very good one. Just about anything will get you there. However, you will have to add a defense rate mod to your relic if you have an ungilded defense rate shard in the mix. Now, I decided I want a little bit of lane clear and a little bit of AoE damage as well, so I went with Melee Boom, and then I want to use my cannons wherever I want. I don't want to care if there's some kind of shields, whether it be geodes or vanguards or bullet sponge lanes and onslaught. No matter what, I want to be able to use cannons where I want to use them, and that means you have to use the Piercer Servo. If you want to be able to slap cannons down in a geode lane or in a shieldy lane, you're gonna have to have a Piercer Servo in the mix. Now, one of the important things about Piercer Servo is, although quality does matter, the better the mod, the better off you'll be. Any quality of Piercer Servo takes away reflex from geodes with cannonballs. Now, for those of you who are big cannonball fans who do use them from time to time on geode lanes prior to this update, you will know that the cannons, the reflective cannons, have caused you some problems. They've killed you, they've killed your walls, they've killed your cores. Anything that you can do to keep those cannonballs from reflecting off geodes, the better off you are. And the way to get that done, of course, once again, is the Piercer Servo. So I personally was happy with the range that I had without getting out to max range. I did want to get down to the defense speed cap. I wanted a little bit of AoE, and I wanted some crowd control in the mix, which means I brought in Stunfire, Deadly Strikes, and Defense Rate with Melee Boom, Defense Rate, and Piercer Servo. Now, taking a look at your Cannonball Ascension. As with any builder, first things first, get your defense crit chance and your defense crit damage capped out, and then finally move into Cannonball Range Gambit after you get these two squared away. In the defense category, straight up defense speed. All 20 of your first points in that category need to go into defense speed, no matter what. After that, move on to Cannonball Tower damage and get that defense power of your cannonballs jacked up a little bit. Of course, this is a cannonball build, so we're not going to look at the offense at all. However, remember, defense speed is an absolute must in this era of the game. Now, as I mentioned, I like to use my cannons for CC. These are not anywhere near the highest DPS cannons you'll get. However, I am using my cannons for lane control. I want to be able to slap them down if there is a Spellbreaker lane in Onslaught to get some nice heavy-hitting physical damage going. I still want to get that little bit of melee boom, so I have the melee boom in there for a little bit of AoE spreading around. And I like to use my cannons on those Spellbreaker lanes and just back behind walls. If you put your cannons in the back, they will wreck up the Lady Orcs as they come. Even with my cannons, where they're not exactly doing the highest DPS, they are still hitting like a truck, as it's hitting every 0.63 seconds for almost 700,000 damage right out of the gates. So Lady Orcs are going to burn down really quick with just a few cannons in every lane. So hopefully this helps everyone understand how to build their cannonballs. Pick what you want to do with them and run with it. Get that Piercer Servo on there if you want to use them on Geode and Shield lanes, and by all means take advantage of that melee boom to spread that massive single target damage around a little and get a little bit of AoE. So thank you once again, and I will see you next time around. Take it easy.